Hello, everyone. I was just caught off guard there for a second because I was looking at my other screen there. But welcome to another stream. I'm actually not even looking over here right now. There we go. I can see the chat. But hello, everyone. Hopefully, having a good day and or night and or morning, depending where you're living in the world. We're back with another stream. It's been a while since we've done one. And the reason I did that is I wanted to wait till the shows were actually properly back, if that makes sense. I'm just making sure that this is bit further away from me so it's not too loud. I have my fan on, that's because it's hot. But yeah, so we've got a decent amount to talk to, as you can tell by the title. We are joined by a guest, which I'll bring in a couple of seconds, but I just wanted to touch base before we get that going. But actually, I'll just do it now because I just feel like I'm wasting time. So here we go. So in 3, 2, 1, let's hope he has put clothes on. We do have DJ Eric. He is joining us for this week. Welcome, Mr. DJ. I think is that the most formal way to introduce you?
That's the most formal. That works.
I didn't want to be informal and be a bit disrespectful. So I'm
you're
happy
talking about being
warm
warm there. It's 24 degrees Celsius here for us today, so that's pretty warm.
I don't know. All I know is that yesterday it was extremely cloudy here, but it was humid as possible. It was as humid as it could possibly be. It was everyone was wearing nothing. That's pretty much what everyone was wearing around me, because it was so warm. But how are you going? How is your day and or night?
Good. I slept in today, so that's good. And so I'm here. That's good. That's a good sign.
Well, it's good that you're physically here. But I do want to thank Sweezy on 60 FPS. That's always a good frames per second to be on, for becoming a new member for the channel. Thank you very much for that. Welcome to the member side of things. But as you can tell from the title, we've got a few things to go over, but I do want to welcome everyone that's coming in, as we usually do. Feel free to let me know where you are from the world that we live in. I'm always curious to see where you guys are from, just because sometimes it's late, sometimes it's too late for you actually to be on. So I'm always curious to see where you are. But of course, when we're going through these topics, feel free to leave a super chat. Obviously, it helps support the channel, obviously, but to get your question 100% answered or just read, because it could be a statement that doesn't require any feedback, I guess. You just want to say something, so you can always do that. And as Sweezy, did I say Sweezy before? Sweezy, you can become a member on the channel and get some bonus features and stand out on the channel as it is. But thank you very much, Munro, with the I was going to say $2, but $1.99, whichever way you want to put it. Jordan Kent will be on the football team. Yes, I saw that on my notifications on YouTube. I don't know who linked it. I think 2 people linked. Maybe you might have been one of them. I think a couple of people linked it. But yeah, I saw that. I guess it's maybe just to get the twins involved and they're doing things together. I think it's maybe what it might be. I don't think it's anything more than that, but it's probably something along those lines. But I'm just California, Lebanon, South Dakota. Is that a South Dakota accent, Eric? I'm not too sure. Dakota.
Too sure. Midwestern accents are usually pretty monotone. They don't have a lot.
Okay, I think every American accent I try and do sounds the same.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any sort of variety with what
Midwestern accents don't have much of a they're probably the most basic American accent in terms of not having much at all. So
yeah, as you can see, someone did ask in the chat. We do have a bonus feature for the stream, and that is the whiteboard. So the whiteboard, I don't know if anyone remembers from my old streams 2 or 3 years ago, the whiteboard was sort of infamous, mainly because I could not draw. Okay. Now we have mega whiteboard, which will contain Easter eggs. So we do have the Snyder Cut. Which way am I going? Why am I going this way? There we go. Yeah. Predictions. I ran out of space because I can't guess space, really. Eric is predicting a 3 out of 10. I asked him before the stream. I thought that's an edgy take. I don't know how the Snyder Cut fandom online is going to react to that. I'm predicting a 10 out of 10 because I'm playing it safe.
Okay.
I'm playing it safe. I don't want to get attacked. So 10 out of 10, we could easily remove that 1 at the beginning, but let's go 10 out of 10. Let's hope for the best. Okay. Anyway. Taya or Taya, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You're not wrong.
I'm most likely wrong. I suck at pronouncing names. Trust me, I'm terrible. Peter, I pronounce Peter or something. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for the $2. Hey, Pagey, how are you today? I am going good. I am going pretty well. It's 9 a.m. It's not 7 a.m. when I usually start streams. So I'm actually awake. I'm actually somewhat conscious this time, so I might not make as many mistakes as I normally do. But let's get into it. Let's get into it, young Eric.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
We'll go through this. I don't know if I really have any, like, it's not going to probably go in order of what we have on stream in regards to the title, but we will get into the first thing we want to talk about, and that is the Arrowverse week in preview. And we're just going to be pretty much just talking about, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're previewing what's coming this week. So it's not too hard to understand. Now, I'm only going to really cover two things, and that's, I don't even think Batwoman's on this week. I think it's
it's off till next week. Yeah,
I think
that's why I didn't do a mega video. People were asking me. I only do mega videos when there's 3 things to talk about, and when there's 2, I don't do one. So
yeah, so they're just randomly changing. That's not. I don't know. That's good for, I guess, continuity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
People tuning in all the time. But we got Superman 1/03, which is otherwise entitled "The Perks of Not Being a Wallflower," which, like, how have you? If you had to, is Superman Lois meeting your expectations out of the gate? And, like, what were your expectations heading into it as well?
I mean, based on knowing that from what we knew, are we talking about, like, before we even had any previews or anything like that? Is that what we're talking about? Or
yeah, like even before, even like when we got that, like, weird stylized trailer thingy that we saw. Remember whatever that was.
I didn't. Okay, so that bothered me because I wanted to see footage, but I didn't take that as like a quality, like a measure of quality on the show.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure that we were going to get something much bigger and better than what we'd seen, because I feel like one of my biggest complaints about Supergirl and Superman on TV, and we talked about this years ago, is I always feel like when you're talking about a Kryptonian, the amount of money that you have to spend to make it look real on screen goes through the roof, because that's a character that has almost every power that you can have. They're super fast, they're super strong, they can fly, they have heat vision, like every special effect you could possibly have to do for a superhero exists on a Superman or a Supergirl type character. Yeah. So I had really hoped going into the show that the budget would be high enough that we could get something that looks, even if it's only 3 minutes a week of fighting, something that looks movie quality that we can watch on a weekly basis on television. I know that's a tall order. So that was my expectations going into it, was that I wanted to see something at that level. And if we're talking about whether or not it met those expectations for me, I think it absolutely did. So
yeah, like I'm sort of surprised that it's with everyone, it's sort of on that line, if that makes sense, because heading into it, I had been told that they were like, oh yeah, like it's not going to be your normal CW show, like expect something different,
right?
Which got me excited, which I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? And then, like, all the news came out about, there's people asking about spamming. I've just fixed it, so hopefully that idiot that's spamming won't be able to do it.
I don't know
anymore.
why people do that, honestly, because putting on slow mode is so annoying.
Look, it's most likely someone that's not all there. It's just someone that's looking for attention. So I'm not even gonna bother like jumping too much into it. But hopefully I've fixed it, so hopefully you won't be able to keep that spamming. So I should have done it before the stream. My bad. But yeah. I'd been told, like, look, it's not going to be a normal CW show. Now, I didn't know if it was like, it meant like just in regards to like cliches that you might normally get and stuff like that. But now I understand completely what it means. But even when they brought on the director and mainly the cinematographer, because he was the Witcher guy. He did season 1 Witcher episodes. Look. Oh, no, I'll leave it, whatever. Actually, no, I can do it here, can't I? Adios, James. Bye. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so when like people were getting announced in regards to the behind-the-scenes stuff, that was like that's when I was like, okay, well, this is some serious business.
Right.
And I'm happy where it's gone. I'm interested to see where it goes. This week will be, I think, a big thing because it's the first episode without those two. Those two, the director and the cinematographer did episode 1 and 2. So I'm curious to see what happens with 3, 4, 5, beyond, and seeing what happens there. So this week will be very important, I think.
And we're only going to have like the next 3 episodes to see that, I think, right? Because we're only getting 3 more episodes before it goes on.
Yeah.
Break.
So yeah, well, that'll be a topic that we'll get into. So I think I thought it was 6, but then it's 5. It's 5 episodes. 5 episodes that go on break afterwards. So yeah, like it'll be a big I don't know, big what do you call it? Make or break, if you want to call it, in regards to whether people think the quality will live up beyond.
I think one of their biggest mistakes would be to drop quality this early in the series. I think will be a big problem.
Well, I think that's maybe one of the reasons they're definitely taking that break, which we'll get into and discuss, because it will be the largest CW schedule as a whole. But because they need the time. Because, like, for example, with the Flash, with their finale episodes, which are usually big, for example, they only filmed I think they wrap about 5-6 weeks before they air. And that's where Superman and Lois is almost at. They'd be at that in 2 weeks or something.
Another thing I noticed, and I saw some set photos, a lot of the stuff that we thought maybe were VFX is actual physical practical effects. In the first episode when we saw, Clark lifting the car or whatever, apparently that wasn't VFX.
I saw the behind the scenes of that and I was like, that's what if the wire snaps?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Big deal. So they're spending a lot of money and making sure this looks really good. That would explain why that shot looked as good as it did, because it
allows them to do the cinematic thing where they go around and stuff like that, rather than just being, because I think if he's on a green screen, it's a bit more difficult, but doing the around the back and stuff like that makes it much easier to do. So I'm happy where it is. I think this week's a big make or break thing. They've also got their first villain of the week coming in. So, which is Subject 11. So, I don't know if I am putting my critical thing on the shots from the trailer. It made me a bit worried. It looks very Supergirl, and that's not me bashing Supergirl. That's just saying in regards to time. But then again, in the episode, it might turn out better. You get literally half a second of a couple of shots.
Right.
So, and we just so we'll have to we'll see the episode tomorrow, obviously. But it's going to be a big episode in regards to I think people's view on the show going forward.
Because I think Stargirl's quality stayed the same through the entire season, so I'm hoping that this show is the same.
Yeah, and that's another thing, what Stargirl is like. But the thing is that it's very important to remember that Stargirl's last 3 episodes were co-financed by the CW. I think it was their last 3 or 4. So it'll be interesting to see with the HBO Max stuff involved and stuff, whether there's another financing thing going on there as well.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to see, because if episode 3 and beyond of Superman and Lois keeps that quality up, it's a very good sign for new shows coming in, like a Naomi and whatever it might be going forward. So but in regards to the Flash, we have 7x02, episode 2, The Speed of Thought. And I guess we'll just chuck a rewind like we did with Superman and Lois. What were your general thoughts on, because everyone's heard mine on episode 1, but people might not have heard yours. So what was your general thoughts coming into this season and what we got?
So, and I've said this a couple times and I still stand by it. I feel like right now we're still in 6.5 for me.
Yeah.
Because
it's not just 6 in general.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're still dealing with what we were dealing with at the end of last season in a bigger way than normal. Because normally you get like I don't want to call it a reboot, but you get sort of that refresh episode at the beginning where it sort of realigns everything and gets you ready for the upcoming season. We're not going to get that until episode 4, because the first 3 episodes are going to be the previous season stuff that we're dealing with. So going into this, my expectations were a lot lower than a normal Flash premiere, because everybody gets really excited for the Flash. I think it's the one where you kind of want it to have this big, surprising, over the top, introduction to the season. But going into this, I didn't have that expectation at all. I just felt like I wanted them to surprise me, but also make me feel like this is a premiere based on what we were already dealing with, which is a really tough thing to do. So, and I thought it was pretty good. I think that I rated it like an 8.5 or something like that, because I did think it was a strong episode. I think it benefited a little bit from coming into it with so many surprises. I mean, there were surprises in this episode that I would not have expected in this. If this would have been the next episode after the one we saw from last season, I would have been shocked, because there were things that happened that I just didn't expect. And I think putting it in a premiere, even by whatever circumstances caused it to happen, really worked in their favor, because it was such a shocking moment in this premiere for these things to happen. So I went into it with lower expectations than Superman and Lois, but pleasantly surprised with what we got. I feel like they definitely, for me, it was a good start for the season. So
yeah, I think they did a solid job making it feel somewhat like a premiere, even though we know it wasn't. But then it's important to remember, it's not like they finished on episode 13 last season. They finished with 3 episodes to go. So it's meant to be one of the last 3 episodes, which is one of the ones where there's a bit more budget and they're trying to hype up the finale. So
now, do you think the casual viewers would have been confused at all? Because I feel like this, for people that are in the know, like we are in the fandom with everybody that comes over here on YouTube and looks things up, it's a much smaller minority compared to like people that watch the show. Do you think they even were confused at all on this, or do you think to them it was just like whatever? You know what I mean?
I think there might have been slight confusion, but it might have been like more like maybe like the Netflix audience. Maybe that might have been like when it goes on Netflix and there's like, oh, there's only 19 episodes a season, and then it ends the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
There might have been some confusion around that. But it just takes a quick Google search. Like
yeah, but I'm just curious. I mean, like in terms of a premiere, like what I was saying earlier was about like it's sort of always being a refresh of the show a bit, so that when you're coming into it, you're kind of starting in a place where you can just follow that season with very little confusion. I don't mean like people that watched the previous season. I'm talking like people that may just want to come in and start watching it now or whatever. It might be a bit
I get you. Like,
because it's a continuation of so much that happened at the end of last season. So
yeah, I guess there could be, but I don't know if it's it's like a season 2 or 3. Like,
that's true.
I guess
It's
a season.
It's like coming into Supernatural in season 14. And going,
it's like so this is a good place to pick up.
Okay, makes it fair.
But this week's episode of The Speed of Thought is one that I am very curious to see what they do, because they've got I'm just interested to see what they do in these last 2 episodes, because these episodes actually filmed once they came back from COVID. That first episode was pretty much in the bag. Mm-hmm. So I want to see if there's any changes that they made from what originally was in the script, like that maybe sets up stuff for Beyond, or maybe they went, okay, this wasn't working with Eva, or this wasn't working with the Iris storyline, or et cetera, and they change it. So I'm very curious to see what they do with it.
And Barry's going to be a bit more buff because Grant worked out a lot.
Well, I'm just trying. Technically, that was in that first action scene.
Yeah.
So, but you don't really see him. You don't see. You see his full body when he's like Spider-Maning on the ground.
Yeah.
He does like a Spider-Man landing. I don't know if you noticed that in the first. I wonder if that was meant to be like that as like an Easter egg. I'm not too sure.
That would have been funny.
Or like a reference, but we'll definitely notice this episode, but. Like he's got this new ability, which I'm hoping doesn't become a new Flash Time thing, because even though Enter Flash Time itself was a spectacle of an episode, like a lot of people put it in their top 5 or at least top 10, it was a big issue going forward, because it's like, well, why doesn't he just use Flash Time? He should never be slow enough.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I actually had a couple friends that aren't deep into the shows like this. They watch them, but they're not like super into all this stuff. And they said that for us, I feel like that's one of my favorite episodes, because it is a cool episode. But for them, they're like, we're watching it and we see that episode that happened like relatively, like it was like mid-season-ish. Was it like episode 16, 15, 16, somewhere around there?
Yeah, it seemed like that, like in that second, third.
Yeah.
Like in between
and
the second and
they
final
said
third.
For them, they were wondering why he didn't use it ever again. They're like, why was it never used on any of the other villains and stuff? So I thought that was a question that we were asking, but it seems like that is a thing that people wonder about, because it did make him so fast that you're wondering like, what? I mean,
like the only other time he uses it slightly in a similar way is when he brings like Caitlin and Cisco so they can move fast. Remember, like right towards the end of the season?
Yeah, and I also think when he was in the courtroom with Iris, right? Didn't he use it in that scene as well?
Did he? Yeah, did he speak to Iris then? Yeah, he did, didn't he? But that was in season 4 as well. Yeah, so it was all season 4. He didn't use it beyond that.
I mean, obviously now with the reboot of the Speed Force, it probably is going to be something that we don't even address anymore or whatever.
Yeah, like it's sort of irrelevant.
But yeah, with speed thinking, if they introduce it and he has it and it's OP, it's going to be a problem, because it creates another power that he has that people are going to go, well, why doesn't Barry? Because think of it this way. Like, we have characters that do specific things on the shows. Like, we have Cisco, he's the engineer, creator, inventor, genius guy. We have Caitlin, that's this medical genius that does what she does. You always have the Wells doing whatever he has to do for the season. Everybody sort of has their own role. And we've talked about this before. If Barry Allen was capable of doing everything, there would be no reason for Team Flash to exist. So everybody sort of has to have a purpose. So if you introduce speed thinking into Barry's like Rolodex of powers that he has, it's very cool from a comic book standpoint. But on a show like this, is it going to be a redundant power? Is it going to be something that's like, he's super smart, but what would you need Cisco for at that point? What would you need Chester for at that point? What would you need anybody for? Because he could become a doctor overnight. He could read information on how to do surgery, and within, a fraction of that time, he could be doing surgery on someone. So it is going to create a problem, I think, unless they unless it makes him really tired. Like he can only use it once in a while and then he can't use it again. But then how cool is that? That's not very cool. So I don't know.
Like, I don't think they're going to go full comics with it, because if they do full comics with the speed thinking, it's definitely overpowered. I think they're going to use like 33-40% of whatever it is in the comics and just go with that, which is mainly he can process the information and he can hold it for much longer.
Right.
Yeah, because
I think they're going to have to make it so it's he holds the information longer, but maybe he doesn't retain it forever, because I think that would be broken.
Yeah, like maybe like instead of holding it for 10 minutes, he holds it for a week or something like that. And or he can choose what he contains and what he doesn't. Yeah. That could be a way that they do it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. I don't think there's really much to talk about heading into it. Because outside of that, like I'm assuming Iris gets out of the Mirrorverse, but
yeah, because
like, it feels like he's been there for ages.
He uses that power to attempt to save Iris, right? Isn't that what it says?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to say he saves her. So attempting to save her could actually be her getting out. Because here's the thing: this would have been the penultimate episode of last season, so it would make sense for her to get out in this episode chronologically. So
but yeah, there's not really much to talk, because like as I said, not a lot. We just know that the Tachyon device is coming back, but once again, no real context to that and what they're doing there. So we'll have to wait and see. But we're only going to wait until tomorrow. We got about
I'm actually excited to see how Eva is going to handle her new information that she got at the end of last episode. So yeah,
I do wonder, like, because people were still a bit confused by that, and like I think it was very good they actually had her say, "I'm not the mirror clone," because I don't think they had said that. Then I don't think even more people wouldn't have understand what the hell that scene was about. Yeah, so I guess it's good. But we do have some super chats to get into. Just by the way, people have been super chatting, but we'll do them in between unless it's relevant to the topic at hand. We do have Scott first, who asked, firstly, 9.99 super chat. Thank you very much for that. So it looks like Diggle's last appearance will be on Supergirl. Green Lantern and Supergirl team up for the final season. Also, likelihood of seeing Kara and Barry interact one last time. Well, the issue with that is because Supergirl's airing episodes, so we don't know where Diggle appears. Does he appear in the first 7 episodes of Supergirl? Because if that's the case, then maybe Superman and Lois is his last appearance, or it's Legends or something like that. So we don't know at this stage, because it
makes me a little worried, because if they're trying to do something chronologically, this could be a problem. Honestly.
Like I don't know. I think it was always going to be an issue chronologically. I sort of said that maybe the story was just going to be in Batwoman, Flash, and Superman and Lois, because they're on. But maybe because Supergirl's airing, maybe his episodes in that first 7 episodes of that. I think he's directing like episode 9 of Supergirl, but maybe he appears in episode 6 or something like that. And maybe because Melissa Benoist wasn't there when she came back, he just did all of his scenes with her, and that's what they had to do there. So it's hard to tell. It could be if it's not in that 7 episodes, then definitely his last appearance is on Supergirl. I don't think it would make sense any other way. But it could, if it's in those first 7 episodes, and it's one of the other shows I think that his last appearance is on. I don't think he's going to be Green Lantern in Supergirl. I think you never know. Like they could chuck in an extra bit of budget there, but you think they would do that in either Batwoman or Superman and Lois just because they're HBO Max shows. Yeah, and I think the likelihood is more likely Superman and Lois as well. And also he lives in Metropolis, so maybe that could be the connective tissue there as to why they do it there. But I'm interested to see what this storyline is with Diggle's Green Lantern, because there's really nothing. Eric Wallace, the showrunner for The Flash, said that he's dealing with the fallout from the Arrow series finale. So they're talking about his ring and everything like that. And there's some like baggage that comes along with it. I think that was the quote that he used. Right. So he's dealing with that. He's most likely used his powers by now, and maybe he's resisting them. And the ring's like, hey, use me. I'm a ring with powers. So maybe that's what's going on there. But I'm very intrigued to see what. I mean,
you have to imagine, though, like out of all the shows, Arrow, I don't want to say dealt with metahumans less than the other ones. I mean, it did, but that wasn't the only thing. I mean, I feel like Arrow was the most grounded show out of all of them. So for Diggle, a character who has issues with metahumans, not in the sense that he doesn't like them, but he's always been overwhelmed by what they can do. I mean, we see that every time Barry would grab him and run him from one place to another and stuff like that. So for him to have a ring with like this incredible power, he may be just overwhelmed by it. And so maybe he needs help trying to figure out what to do with this. And so
like he's always been a bit like untrustworthy of it all. So
right.
Like has something that's this supernatural, intergalactical, whatever it might be, alien sort of thing, like of course he's going to be like, well, what the hell's going on here? Like he might be a bit scared of it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Like I think Diggle might be showing some issues. But Scott does come in with another $5. Do you think they're setting up a Flash Stargirl crossover for next season with the Jay Garrick appearance? Maybe. I think they definitely want to do a Flash and Stargirl crossover. Once again, the issue is probably the HBO Max thing because Stargirl appears on HBO Max. But I think they'd want to do that. I think maybe they're doing that just so they have one Jay Garrick, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just easy to use John Wesley's ship. Once again, we don't know.
The costume already exists. They don't even have to make a new costume. They're just using his one from.
Yeah, well, he posted that photo and everyone thought it was on the Stargirl set. He should have really said it was because he wouldn't be filming Flash at that time when he posted that photo on social media because similar to that, like Batwoman appearing on Titan's set, it would have been breaking quarantine. So hashtag Warner Brothers getting a big fine, and probably John Wesley's ship along with that. So I don't think he was on the Flash set when he was wearing that, unless it was from a while ago. And I don't know. I think they might be using him later in the season if they're going to use him. But the thing is, if they make his old suit, it's easy. It's literally like an easy shirt to make with a pair of jeans.
Yeah,
they've got the helmet already, so it wouldn't be too hard of a suit to make and replicate from the comics. It'd be actually much easier than the one he's got at the moment. So I'm
just wondering if they're doing it because it's a good looking suit and they just feel like they can save money by just putting him in the same costume. I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just for like connective tissue. Maybe they want people to go, he's the Flash from the Flash. Yeah. So he's, but also post crisis has happened. So maybe he's from Earth 2 now, not Earth 3. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they do. Even with just Jay Garrick on the Flash as well to make it work with Stargirl's thing as well. Yeah. So I don't know.
So what I'm curious about, though, and this is the interesting thing, is with the multiverse aspect, and we know that the Speed Force is supposedly supplying speed for all the speedsters in the multiverse. Would Jay Garrick not have his speed on Stargirl since the Speed Force is technically gone? Do you think they would?
Well, they could make it that maybe post crisis he doesn't run off the Speed Force. Maybe they could run.
He's just super fast.
It's like that literal golden age, air thing, whatever it is, the oxygen.
I would be okay with that
thing.
I'd be okay with that if they did.
Yeah, and that might work better on Stargirl because you're not relying like Barry can run off his own thing, and Jay Garrick can do his own thing, and he runs off that, like, was it the oxygen? I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, like something particles, like the air particles or something.
Yeah, it's like a mathematic thing, like they understand the science behind it or something. So yeah. I'm not really sure.
I can't remember what it is. Yeah, there are super chats which I'm going to get to. The issue is like with StreamYard, they just go away. So give me 2 seconds and I will read out the rest of the super chats.
Like asking them week after week after week.
Every single time I finish a stream, and they go, "What should we do better?" I'm like, add a super chats.
Yeah, it can't be that hard, honestly.
Yeah. But we do have Ryan with the £2. Why is Supergirl replaced? Well, we're going to get into that in a second. So thank you for the super chat, Ryan. But we'll get into that. That'll be our next topic that we'll get into completely. Reborn Yoni asked Supergirl Air Day, but also when does Iris come out of the mirror? I'm hoping this week. And also it seems like it's this week because I'm pretty sure Barry gets in to the Mirrorverse this week. So it'd be weird if he just left. Oh, so, look, we'll deal with you next week, Iris.
Right.
I won't bring you out this week. Also, apparently Captain Singh's in this week. So keep your eyes out for Captain Singh.
That adds even more credence to them getting out of it if Captain Singh is in the episode.
So I think well, probably be Barry, wouldn't it? He'd be like, hold on, there was a mirror kind of Captain Singh. We need to get him first.
Yeah.
Unless maybe he's gone evil in there. Who knows? Scarlet Lightning 86 with the $5. Do you think Superman and Lois will follow the team approach the other shows have, or go a different route like Team Flash? Well, I don't know. Like they're a family, so they're already a sort of a team. I don't think you're going to see like
just look at Black Lightning. Black Lightning is basically a family of superheroes.
Yeah, they're already
one person
Flash call themselves a family. Team Flash call themselves a family, so they've got their team already. But I think it's going to be a different style. It might have some similarities to certain things, but I don't think you're going to see like a Team Flash or a DEO or a Team Arrow or whatever it might be. It's just going to be that family.
Because with Black Lightning, they have Gambi that helps them, and he's literally their tech person, but everything else is family oriented. So
yeah, like they might add one more person in the future, and I think it'll be like if it's necessary. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Captain J10 with the $2. Y'all ready to see Flash and Black Lightning tonight? Was that even confirmed? Or is that still a Lance Osfresser?
It's Lance. I haven't seen anything.
Look, Lance Osfresser is either 50-50. It's literally flip the coin.
Let me ask you a question.
Someone on the cast has told him, or he's making it up.
Yeah, but my question is, they're not doing promotions for Black Lightning. Why in the world would the Flash crossover with Black Lightning with no promotion?
Yeah, no promotion. Yeah.
Think about that for a second. They would
the biggest example is that that Arrow episode where I think it was something to do with Dinah Drake, and they had to get something from Central City, and they had Captain Singh in the episode, and then you don't even see Grant Gustin in the episode. You just see the CGI for the Flash grabbing a file. They advertised that.
Right.
Grant, I'm pretty sure, put on Instagram, yo, keep your eyes on Arrow. You might see something tonight.
Yeah.
Why would you not do that for Black Lightning?
Right. So could it happen? Yes, absolutely. They could
put him
in there. Am I expecting anything? No, not at all.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't go in there, expecting it and being like, oh, I'm going to be disappointed if it doesn't happen.
It would do so well for Black Lightning to hype up their numbers to advertise the Flash being on it. So come on.
Yeah. And even if he's in there, it's going to be Grant on a green screen in Vancouver going, hi, or something along those lines. It's not going to be like him in Atlanta filming.
But you know what? You just mentioned something. What if it's literally like he's delivering something to them, so we see the Flash running?
It could be literally the Flash
running and then running away.
Or it could be a flashback to something in Black Lightning's the past, prime timeline with the metahumans and stuff, where the Flash was.
We'll just put it this way: Grant has not filmed on location with Black Lightning. That's a fact. So take from that what you will. Just keep that as your expectations.
But yeah, as I said, Lance Osfresser is a flip of the coin. He's either being told by someone on the cast or on the set that knows it happened, or he's making it up and it's not going to happen. So don't get your hopes up too high. Naruto with the $5 catching up on Riverdale. They recently time skipped 7 years. Wasn't it 5 years? Or was it? I don't know. Now it's 2021. So I guess that means the season 1 to 4 was 2010 to 2014. I think it was 5 years. I think it was 5. I don't know. 5 years makes more sense.
I remember seeing 5 years. Yeah.
I think it was 5 years. But yeah, so maybe they were stuck in 2016 and the whole series took place in 2016. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure it was 5 years. I don't think it was anything more than that. But hopefully that time jumps can be difficult, but I think from everything I've heard, it's actually helped Riverdale. It's because they can just do their own thing. So yeah, that's probably good for them that they can do their own thing now. But anyway, Riverdale's not a part of the Arrowverse. Let's move on. We've got one more super chat before we get to the next topic. Jay Pritz with the $5. Thank you much for that. Do you think that Cobalt will be showing up in episode 12? I'm very intrigued because episode 11 is meant to be like the finale for graphic novel number 1 of season 7, but 3 overall. So episode 12 would presumably be, start everything off. But Godspeed's meant to be in it. I don't know if you can use Godspeed and Cobalt Blue. I don't know if there's enough synergy there, unless they make it that Godspeed's Eddie Thawne and they merge Godspeed's what Cobalt Blue can do, that Godspeed can do it, or something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know, like Cobalt Blue is a villain I want to see, but you could use him anytime. Like we know we're getting a season 8. I have no idea what villain they're going to use in season 8. Use Cobalt Blue there, and also you get a proper time to set it up, like and actually plan it. So, Cobalt Blue for me, like the storyline is easy to do. I've done a video on. I've probably milk the cow too much, but yeah, probably a couple of videos on the channel where I've gone over the storyline in some way, shape, or form. But Cobalt Blue is one I've always wanted to see since season 2, since the end of season 1, when like Eddie got sucked into the singularity or whatever it was. But also it's like post-crisis. We don't know necessarily what happens, so they could do it any way they want. But I want to see it, but just everything that's been said, I don't see it happening this season just because we know Godspeed's meant to be there. So, like, do you want to see Eddie come back as Cobalt Blue?
Yeah.
I thought you might have faced out or something.
No, absolutely. I was reading over here. Somebody said something about Jordan and Sarah being cousins, and I distracted me. I'm like, what?
No. If they are, then Lana and Clark were doing some interesting things back in the day.
Yeah.
Now they're in a small town, but like, yeah, they are. They are not cousins.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to your comment about Cobalt Blue, yes, I would love to see him come back, and that would be a cool storyline. And I think a lot of people have wanted that for a while. So it's one of those things where it's a fan theory, but I think out of all the fan theories we've heard or fan requests, this is one that I would totally be on board with. So
yeah, I do have Scott chiming in again with another $5. Thank you very much for that, Scotty. Will we see Kara interact with Barry and Clark one last time? Would suck if Diggle gets to be on there, but they can't. The issue is those COVID things, and also the fact that by the time Supergirl gets around to doing their finale, a lot of the other shows are probably almost done. Like the only thing is that there is like just this longer thing that they might be able to, but you'd be cutting it thin. Like there'd be a really,
or they'd have to film it way out of order, meaning they'd have to like shoot the scenes with them like for the finale very early. I mean,
I'm not even too sure what the whole thing is like in regards to set crossing and everything like that. Like,
right.
And I think they're holding it up until I think almost all of this year. They're holding that up. So at least until
unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see major crossovers till next season. That's just
and I think even if they do a crossover next season, like they might even push it into like the back half of the season. They might do it around like an episode 12 or 13 or something like that. But I don't know. Like I guess everything's fluid. Like everything is changing day to day, or at least week to week. So you never know. But you might get something, but I wouldn't hold your breath. But we know Diggle's on there. I just as I said, wouldn't hold your breath for anything Barry and Clark related. Like I know a lot of people would want to see it, and it's just cool like fan service, but I don't know. Especially we don't know how Supergirl ends. Like Supergirl might have to leave in a rush. I'd be random with Barry and Clark just can get there in time.
And they may leave the ending open-ended. Like if she is going to go to the future, that doesn't mean that she's never going to come back, which means there may be no reason for them to be there. It's not like Oliver Queen when he died.
Yeah, it's not like Arrow's Oliver's funeral, which is like, oh no, I can't be there. Don't have time for Oliver's funeral. It's like, well, hold on, what the hell? So they can work around it going forward. So it's not like a necessity, but obviously like fans would like it as like sort of like fan service and stuff like that. Silhouette animated with the $5. If no Speed Force, no speed for DCEU, Barry, could the artificial Speed Force be tapped into like Wi-Fi, or will a new one come at some point? Well, from everything that Eric Wallace is saying, that artificial Speed Force we saw get made isn't a permanent thing. I guess the question is, how long does it last? So my prediction is based on what we know about that's happening in this season's first storyline of graphic novel from episodes 4 to 11. This will be reinstating a proper Speed Force, I think, from what I can tell. So don't expect the artificial Speed Force to be around for too long. And I think sort of the name gives it away and just how it was created and everything like that. So yeah.
Yeah, so
I just don't want to spoil things. I just don't want to spoil things.
Just think of it this way: the artificial Speed Force is a band-aid. It's just not the fix right now.
Yeah, it's like, or even just like I don't even know what you would call it. I know, like some stitches.
Yeah,
don't cut open the stitches. You start bleeding again. You need something else to go on. You need to heal. But like I just don't want to spoil things too much. Silhouette animated once again with another $5. Why didn't you tell me about Argo City, Dad? Jordan Kent. Is this like because he was complaining? Or did he actually say that?
I don't remember him saying that, unless it was in a scene from one of the cutouts of the episode or something. I don't know.
I'm not too sure what that means, silhouette animator. I'm guessing it's a joke. I'm not too sure. Are we even totally sure that Argo City happened anymore? Because that was something that was like before, like it happened when Crisis was going on, but then it sort of got retconned, right? Like it's changed now because of Crisis. Oh yes. Well, Jordan wasn't the kid, was he?
He wasn't, but also I think that the Argo City storyline changed probably because of what happened.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of things have changed. I think they sort of like they get to pick and choose what they wanted to include and what not to include. But yeah, silhouette animated with another $2. Recast Maxwell Lord, Supergirl season 6. I know. I sort of the Maxwell Lord they chose suits Superman and Lois. I don't think you can use that Maxwell Lord in Supergirl. But it'd be interesting if they randomly use like.
Here's the thing. We already know kind of the path of Supergirl. Like we kind of know what's going on with it. I don't see I don't think we're going to see any major introductions in this season. It's winding the show down. I think that as far as like recasting characters and bringing characters in, I think that's kind of not a thing anymore. I think we're going to be dealing with the characters we already know, probably.
Yeah, because you don't want to spend time having to introduce another character when there's already a bunch of characters on Supergirl. They have to wrap up their stories and stuff.
Dreamer had barely any screen time, and Brainy got reduced to like a couple of plot points last season. So I mean, they need room for those characters.
Yeah, Naruto came with the $5. Eric, I know we got a couple more topics to go through, but I need to get these super chats.
Yeah.
We'll get through. We'll start them in a second. Naruto with the $5. Eric, I heard the Mutants title is a reference to Stan Lee because that's what he originally wanted to call the comic.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. It's going to be called Marvel's The Mutants. I don't have an issue with that if that's what they want to do. I've already said.
Yeah, it's not like they call them like X people or something like that. Yeah. That'd be actually that might be a joke that I would use anyway. Canada goes to the $5. Thank you very much for that. Can you let Eric know there's a spider on his wall? I was telling him before the stream starts he wants to leave it there. Maybe he thinks that it's going to catch bugs and stop like mosquitoes and stuff.
It's almost as big as a huntsman spider.
Yeah, almost as big, not as big. And Jordan Animator, Silhouetted Animator came with the $5. The Jordan thing was a joke based on Argo City not being mentioned. It was said to still exist post-crisis. Did they say it existed post-crisis? Maybe on Supergirl.
Maybe they did, but I don't think the storyline involving their family connected.
Yeah, I don't think Superman Lois is going to be referencing Argo City too much. Yeah, I thought it was something along those lines. I wasn't too sure. I was trying to think, did they say it in an episode? And I missed it. I wasn't too sure. But let's get into it. Next topic, which a lot of people have referred to, is the CW schedule shakeup. We'll probably get through this quickly because it's just like go through the meat and potatoes of it. No sauces, Eric, just meat and potatoes. So the big story last week was that Supergirl was going to be premiering much earlier, but I guess the bigger thing around it, because it involved like newer people coming into a new show in the Arrowverse, was that Superman and Lois will be delaying itself or being delayed after 5 episodes.
Right.
Now, I mentioned, I think it was in your stream last week or the week before, I saw this coming. It wasn't going to surprise me too much because the news came out that they were only filming episode 9, or they were about to film episode 9. I was like, well, holy, like they're going to get caught up
compared to the other shows.
Yeah. So it was like they were always going to take a break. It just mattered when. Were they going to hold it off as late as they could? So it was like, okay, we got to episode 7, but episode 8's not ready. We've got to take a break. But now they can give a month's worth of notice as well as advertisement potentially for Supergirl, saying it's coming back on that date, and they can, I guess, advertise the Supergirl premiere date on Superman and Lois. I guess they would flash on their broadcast and stuff like that, show promos, blah blah blah. So I guess it's good that they get it out now because you don't want them. You'd be better off delaying this long delay. I think it's about 2 months. I think just under 2 months. I think. Yeah. You'd rather do it earlier in the season than start doing like episode 10 when you've only got 5 episodes left and stuff is building up to a finale. Right. You don't want to do it too early. Do it too late, sorry.
It also depends on like what happens in episode 5. It could be a soft like cliffhanger, or it could be something really big.
They've only revealed the first 5 episode titles. Like they revealed them ages ago and there hadn't been any sort of update or anything like that. So I think episode 5 is Haywire, which I'm not sure what the context of that will be going forward, but maybe something big happens and they feel that's a good point to have it like as like a mid-season finale, if you want to call it. And maybe episode 7 for Supergirl does the exact same thing. Maybe that ends on a good way where it feels like a mid-season finale sort of. So maybe that's what they thought there.
This is better for Supergirl than Superman and Lois in terms of like this shift, because Supergirl is coming into a time slot that people are going to tune in thinking.
Well, it's after the Flash. Yeah.
So you're going to get a big bump in like visibility because of that. And I think that's good for them because the show, I don't think that Sundays were okay, but Supergirl should have been a show that always had the same amount of buzz that the Flash did, in my opinion. And it kind of dwindled over time. So I think that Supergirl is benefiting a lot from this because it's their final season. Are they going to get promotion because Black Lightning's not getting any? I have no idea. But being on right after the Flash is really good for Supergirl. But I think a lot of people that are loving Superman and Lois are going to probably be annoyed by this. So,
yeah, you could tell online. Like people were like, "Oh, the CW strikes again." It's just like, well, do you want them to rush it?
Yeah,
they can rush it, and then you'll complain that they rushed it. So,
yeah, no, you're right.
You got one or the other. You can't just complain about everything. Like, sure, it's disappointing because I'd rather just to see it keep airing. But you know, if the result is that they actually get to do it properly and upholds that quality, then why would you not want it to continue? I mean, sometimes with those bigger shows, sometimes they'll take that break like halfway through the season for 4 months, or you'll get 5 episodes of a show, a high quality show, and they'll be gone for just knocked over something. They'll be gone for 2 years. You know what I mean? So I'm not too.
Is that a TikTok ghost? Is that a TikTok ghost video there waiting to happen?
Maybe. Not going to confirm or deny things. Yeah. But I think so. Superman and Lois ends after episode 5, or goes on break after episode 5, which is March 30th. Oh no, March 23rd, because Supergirl premieres on March 30th,
right?
With their final season, and then it comes back.
May 18th.
I think is it May 18th they come back, or that's when Supergirl's last episode is?
I'm not totally sure.
It's one of the two. So I guess May 18, May 25.
Yeah, because there's a question on the way that was worded in the article. So yeah,
I can't remember. I'm just going off the top of my head in regards to that.
I know, but May 18th is either the end of Supergirl, their first half, or the return of Superman and Lois. We'll figure.
Yeah. Well, so I actually messaged a guy that works on one of the CW affiliate channels, which I brought, I think on Eric's stream, I brought up like a guide before. And he told me that the schedule at the moment with the CW is super fluid, because the shows that they're like, because of the COVID thing, things could change in an instant. So the schedule is super fluid. I wrote down what he said, pretty much notes. He said they only really know up until around late May what's going on, and that's only with a certain shows as well. Like they don't know the current Flash schedule, where Flash airs every episode in a row or not. They don't know if Flash is taking a break, because everything's so fluid. Like the episodes might catch up, and Flash might not be ready. Like Flash might get caught up too, potentially, especially if there's a COVID delay. So they don't even know that. That's why Stargirl doesn't even have a release date. Like if they would know roughly, like, okay, well, Flash is going to end on this date. If we want to air Stargirl on a Tuesday night, Stargirl will go there. But they don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, fluid. They could also, Stargirl could be one of those shows where they just wait to see. Like it's like while the shows are airing, they could go, oh, this show has to go on hiatus. Well, we have 10 episodes of Stargirl ready to go, so let's go ahead and just promote it and start hearing Stargirl. So, and
that's why it's smart, because they just said Stargirl's coming in summer, which it will, because even if there is delays, Flash will still end in time,
right?
Or another show will end in time for Stargirl to air in summer, but it's so fluid. So there's no don't really no one knows, they don't know when the finale's airing for the Flash. There's no date for that.
Basically, don't get attached to the dates we're seeing right now, because things could change. Like, don't get attached to them. I have a feeling there's going to be more shifts. I think we'll be making videos about changes over the summer.
Yeah. So I've seen people throwing around oh, this is when this will end. This was when, but you just I've done that in videos as well. But I've said that if there's no breaks, it'll end here, but everything's fluid. And the guy pretty much confirmed that to me. So I don't know when Flash is ending. I don't know when Stargirl's starting. I don't know when, because Supergirl could actually air more episodes as well. There's the potential there that Superman and Lois might take longer, and they don't want to go, okay, well, we're episode 6, 7, 8, and then go on another break. Like they'll just let Supergirl air more episodes potentially, and then come back later on with Superman and Lois. So that date even isn't a confirmation either. So we'll have to wait and see what happens that. But yeah, so just keep in mind that everything's fluid. Do you have silhouetted animator with the $5? Will Iris find original Eva or Cicada's dagger? Yes, I said Cicada get triggered. In the Mirrorverse as a way to escape it, which would work better. Well, they got the dagger in there. Didn't they use that to do something? It was last season. I can't remember what it was.
They were used it for. In Star Labs, and I think was it Camilla had it hooked up to some sort of device or something, and
then wasn't that when Iris then just disappears?
Yeah, we literally saw it, and we saw it connected to something, and then that was it, and then they didn't really do anything after that. I don't think the dagger is just going to work for anybody in the same way it worked for Cicada. I think that it's a power source. That's pretty much it. I can't see any other thing that it can do, because it was part of the Metatech season, so I don't know if we're gonna dive back into that or not.
Yeah, well, and then original Eva died, so they had the body there, so original Eva's already in the ground, I guess. So I guess the only one that could technically work would be Cicada's dagger, because it's actually in the Mirrorverse, I think. So but I don't know if they're going to use it. I think they just did it because we know that it went in there at the end of season 5, so people were asking about it when the Mirrorverse was open.
I think they were just acknowledging that it is there.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what happens, specifically with it. But we can move on to the next topic, which is Oh, yeah, we got good enough time. So Zoom's possible return. Once again, we'll get into this. We'll go through this fairly quickly. But Eric Wallace did say that he wants to bring Zoom back in the forward, not just for one episode, but he said for a few episodes. Like I guess for like some sort of like mini storyline or something along those lines. Now, I have my thoughts about this, but like, where would you like to see him show up? Like in a flashback of Earth Prime, or like a newly revamped Zoom on Earth Prime, not from the past but in the present day, maybe with a more comic accurate suit. I don't know, maybe comic accurate powers. Because the thing is, the Zoom that we saw on the show, while very cool, and a lot of people think they take him as the best villain, I think it's between Reverse Flash and Zoom. I guess it depends how you interpret that final thing with Zoom. But he wasn't necessarily comic accurate. Like they could have done the time manipulation, which he has in the comics. Like if you didn't know, Zoom isn't really a speedster. He's not connected to like the Speed Force in like the same way like the Flash is. He uses time manipulation, so he's not running fast. He's making everything else around him slow.
Yeah, that's how he functions. And
yeah, so like that would have been really cool.
Like the Turtle character, but not exactly the same.
Turtle, but more OP, much more OP. So we are actually seeing an instance of that this season in the Flash, but once again, that's sort of jumping into a spoiler.
So how would I want to see him come back? So did we confirm or was it one of those things that because I know Cisco had the whiteboard up with all the stuff on it that had changed or whatever. Did we ever confirm that Zoom did not happen the way it did? Because technically the multiverse wouldn't have existed. So Zoom would have had to have been an alien or like something else completely in that season, right? He wouldn't have been.
I don't think they confirm like necessarily where Zoom came from or what happened to him. The only thing they say is that Zoom's army came just through a breach or something, like some sort of, they just enter because there was no Earth 2.
Right.
So that whole storyline where like Barry and the others go over there, I guess, to rescue Jesse Quick and everything like that.
Never happened.
That never happened. So if it did happen, it happened on Earth Prime in a different city maybe or something like that. So I wouldn't mind them doing that because I think the Reverse Flash thing from season 1 happens the exact same.
Yeah.
Savitar can happen the exact same way. DeVoe,
because that's all
these characters. All this stuff is connected just to Earth, like the same Earth, or time travel. But Zoom specifically is connected to another Earth, which wouldn't have been there. So I wouldn't mind them tapping into that. Maybe that's something we can do next season. Maybe we have next season. It's a Zoom Cobalt Blue. Maybe those are the 2 graphic novels. Yeah, and you can do it either way you want to do it.
Explored more because I think they need to go back and explain what actually happened. Because I would love for like a flashback to a new updated season 2 where we see what actually happened instead of what we saw before, like what happened now that Crisis has changed everything, because I think that would be really interesting. But I also would like to see him face off against a modern Flash, because Flash is much more seasoned and even powerful now than he was back when he faced off against Zoom the first time. So
yeah, like I think there's a lot of possibilities you can do with Zoom that would be different than what we first saw, but I don't think would take anything away from the first time we saw him either. Because it'd be a different interpretation potentially. I guess it just matters like how they use them. Like, would it be flashbacks or would they set it in the current day or not? But they could use it that maybe he was just captured. Maybe he's just sitting in Iron Heights, like, oh, I'm angry.
Yeah.
And that's literally where he is. And then he gets released.
You know what? It also makes me wonder, like, season 2 established so much of what we know in the Arrowverse now, if you think about it. Like the Jay Garrick, the Jesse Quick, the Earth 2 Harrison Wells, Killer Frost, her entire storyline about not wanting to be evil came from Earth 2's version of her.
Yeah.
Laurel from Earth 2 who became a big character over on Arrow and everything. So much of it came from that season that it's hard to believe that they would have to explain so much in that season. I don't know if they dive into all of that, but Zoom would definitely have to be explained for sure.
Yeah. Like if they brought him back and they actually did the whole time manipulation thing, that would provide some very cool scenes. Because let's just say it would be Turtle, but on another level. Yeah. And like if they did comic accurate Zoom origin, that'd be fairly cool as well. Maybe you don't have to do Grodd, but like it would be fairly cool. But Naruto does say with the $5, maybe this is the Zoom that gets grabbed by a time wraith in season 5. You could argue that, but the issue is that Crisis happened. That's the only issue with that. So it's hard to really reference anything pre season 608 or whatever it was, or 610, episode 10 of season 6, and use that. But they could use that in the storyline, and maybe it works with. Well, then again, I guess you could say that it all happened on Earth Prime, and then he gets taken by a time wraith in the same events, but just in the Earth Prime timeline. So they could work that way. But I'd be interested to see how Eric Wallace would handle Zoom. Like, would he make him more comic accurate? But the thing is that he's used a lot of Rebirth. We know there's a lot of Rebirth, DC Rebirth or Flash Rebirth in this season coming up. So I wonder if he'd use like the Hunter's Owlman stuff from DC Rebirth, which is interesting. I just say it's interesting. You can sort of Google it yourself. I won't say just because it could be a spoiler potentially for what they could do. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they do. I don't really want to talk about it too much. But I'd be excited for Zoom to come in. Is that your final verdict? Yes to Zoom return?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes to Zoom return from Eric.
No to Savitar return. No to Savitar though.
Krista and Boo Boo with the $2. Thank you much for that. Another member of the channel. I would love a new take on Zoom or Black Flash. Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't mind it too much if Zoom never became Black Flash. Black Flash is his own entity. He just existed, and no one ever became him. Like, it wasn't as Zoom becomes him, it's just this own thing. So maybe they could do both. But then again, Black Flash is a hard character to handle. Even the comics struggle to use him consistently. So
he's very cool looking, and I think that's why everybody likes him.
Yeah, like the easiest way to use him if these are like a rogue speed that shouldn't be there, like a Reverse Flash. Like that might maybe that's how Zoom comes back. Maybe the Black Flash is after Zoom. I don't know. Maybe that's what they could do there. Joseph Smith, thank you for becoming a member on the channel. Greatly appreciated. Welcome. But we do have one more topic to go through, and it should be not too much of a long one. And that's the future of Wells. And I put / Tom Cavanagh just because he might not be Wells.
Right,
he's still there. But the big thing is that we know that Nash Wells and technically all the other Wells died in episode 1. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, but why are you watching this? Have you not seen episode 1? But we saw them, get absorbed, the multiverse particles get absorbed into the fusion sphere to create this artificial speed force, which we know is not going to be a permanent thing. So he's sacrificed himself just to give Flash a chance for a certain amount of time. So it's a noble sacrifice. Right. However, the big thing, and this was known before this episode aired, it wasn't like this thing that just came out. Tom Cavanagh's been filming this season. He's been doing Flash stuff. Now, we know from one of the trailers, it looks like he's going to be an entity or a representation maybe of the artificial speed force, or maybe due to Barry's speed thinking, he can see Wells because he's talking to like the OG Wells in one of the trailers. So that's he's still filming stuff in regards to that, but it seems that he was filming like outdoor scenes as if he was another character as well. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. And also, I think the cast even posted photos of him while filming episodes after episode 1. So even they weren't even trying to hide it because it just wasn't necessarily like too much of a secret going into this season. But what are your thoughts? Do you think he'll be like a artificial speed force representative or like something like that, sort of like what Nora Allen was, a normal speed force? Or do you think something happens where he plays another character? Is he Reverse Flash? What are your thoughts? You're wearing the Reverse Flash shirt, so maybe you're thinking that, but how do you see it happen going down this season?
I think it's probably, if you were a betting person, him coming back as Reverse Flash is a pretty good bet. I think we will see that at some point. So we know that he will be the Wells of Bard. The whole Matt Lesher, Tom Cavanagh, which one comes back or whatever, it really comes down to filming. That's really all it is. I don't think there's any real rhyme or reason why. So I think we'll probably see him again as Reverse Flash. However, I think as far as like Team Flash is concerned and all the stuff we're seeing with them, I think because we don't have a multiverse, or at least not right now, when they don't have access to the multiverse, seeing another Wells come in is highly unlikely. So take that out of the equation. I would say probably a sentient representation of the new Speed Force. That's where I would put him. That's where I would put my money if I were a betting person on all this. Outside of that, Reverse Flash only. I would love to see another Wells come in eventually, but I think right now is just not the time for it. I think
we have to tap back into the multiverse.
Yeah.
So sort of you can't touch it till then.
It does beg the question, though, if they decide to go that route, then what was all the multiversal particles of Wells that were inside of Nash? I mean, it's just it's a weird place to put everything. But they're always, the one thing the Flash does, or at least it tries to do, is it tries to explain stuff. So I'm sure there'll be some explanation for why there's other Wells
they
out
could
there.
Make it that all the Wells in there were just ones from the previous multiverse.
That's it. Yeah.
Once Oliver created the new one, new Wells sprout up. So that could be
that's what I'm assuming. But I would suspect this season we'll see him as a representation of the new Speed Force and probably Reverse Flash later on in the season.
Well, we know that the cliffhanger for what season 6 was meant to be was Reverse Flash related. I'm assuming it was meant to be his spirit. Now, especially what's happened there, I wonder if he knows that Wells died.
What if he's what if the Wells the Bard is stuck in this artificial Speed Force and he's going to be able to talk to Barry? And
it would be fairly interesting.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
From what we can tell from that trailer, it's the Wells Bard from the Night of the Particle Accelerator, which was Eobard Thawne. The Wells there was Eobard Thawne standing up with the glasses. Then he used that accident to be in the wheelchair and use it as I guess a sympathy thing. I'm not too sure.
I can see that working. I'd be okay with that. That would be fine with me.
So I'm intrigued to see what they do.
He could be back as Ralph
weird not having Tom Cavanagh on the show,
right?
If you had to name 2 characters where the show would feel, actually 3 characters, I would say where the show would feel weird if they weren't there for a certain amount of time. It'd be obviously Grant Gustin as Barry, probably Joe as well. Jesse L. Martin as Joe. Remember when Joe wasn't there for a while? It felt weird.
Yeah.
Seal was doing his lines, and then Tom Cavanagh. Those 3, you'd notice it.
I've said from the beginning, Joe is the backbone of the show. He really is the one.
The heart of the show.
Yeah, he builds. Same feeling. I feel like he's just such a core part of the show that everything sort of circulates around him as a character. And it's weird because he doesn't get as much time as a lot of the other characters, but you definitely know when he's not been there. I mean, it's obvious when he's not been
I think that's why Joe is so good, is because when he's on screen, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty rare Joe's on screen and it's a crap scene. Jesse L. Martin makes use of his screen.
This is a question I'll ask anybody. When has Joe ever had a bad scene on the Flash? I don't think ever. I can't think of a time when Joe ever had anything bad on the Flash. Speaking of Tom Cavanagh, though, do you think maybe we might see him as Ralph Dibny? Is that a possibility?
I think that's the same what we get in episode 3, which is the Sue Dearborn episode when she comes back. I think that you'll see Tom Cavanagh in that episode. And you might see, I think you might see Tom Cavanagh in this week's episode. I think that where he's that OG Wells Bard from season 1, I think that might be in this week's episode. And that might be when Barry unlocks his speed thinking. That's one of the things he can do is talk to this Wells. And he can go into the Speed Force, but in his mind. Maybe that's how they do it.
And I wonder,
did see those images where Barry had that the thing where when that Julian Albert put on to talk to Savitar. He might talk to Wells through that.
Yeah. So would it be a risk to say, or maybe too edgy, I guess, that I think people would be slightly not annoyed if Tom Cavanagh was playing Ralph Dibny? I think that was probably the one character that could get away with doing it. And
I think it's the one person you could get away with it. And they also said it was meant to be done a comedic way. He's the only real comedic actor outside of Harley Sawyer when he was there. So actually, I think Danielle Nicolette's a comedic actress as well, but I don't think they're going to use Cecile.
But since Wells is gone, it makes the most sense that Tom would just be Ralph Dibny. I mean, that makes sense.
And he might not read the room as well. He might just walk in as Nash, and I think he's back. And it's no, it's Ralph. I'm just disguising myself so I don't get caught. Yeah,
exactly. that's pretty much it. Even though you're disguising yourself as someone who should also be Most Wanted, but it's whatever, I guess.
We do have some super chats to get through. We do have Captain J10 with the $2 who asks, is Eobard going to be a female speedster? Good/bad idea. Do you mean he takes over a female's body? I did say in my video, I think yesterday or the day before, Twitter might cancel it, but then a couple of people brought up in the comments and I think even on Twitter that DeVoe took over multiple female bodies. So DeVoe get cancelled. Then again, that was a few years ago, so maybe it wasn't cancellation territory at that point. But I think I don't know. I have to wait and see. I don't know. If anything, if it's just going to be Tom, well, he'd just take over he'd just become his own body, I guess, if it's going to have Tom Cavanagh as the actor. So I guess he'll just be himself. So he just might rejuvenate himself and make himself come alive again. But yeah, I don't really see much going on there. Naruto with the $2. Zoom returns, bring back Tom Felton. I'd be surprised if Tom Felton came back because I think there was sort of some like they weren't really happy with how he left. I'm not sure all the details, but
there's a reason why he didn't come back to reprise his role the season after that because he was supposed to and he never did.
Yeah, so. He was meant to. Like that was funnily enough, him not coming back. I'm pretty sure is why Ralph Dibny was on the show.
Yeah.
So he was meant to be in season 4, but stuff happened. So we'll just leave it as that. Juicy with the $2 or £2, might I say. I really want to know what happens to Wally now. I really wish COVID wasn't a thing just because I'm sure Kane Lonsdale would have been in this season if he could have just flown in. He's on a show now. I don't know what show. I think it films in Atlanta now, or it's a movie or one of the two. But like, hopefully we get Wally next season. Because it seems that whenever he comes back, he seems to enjoy it, especially if because he got to do a really cool episode last season.
I actually think Keenan went on record saying that he enjoyed this coming back this time. Like he really,
I think he likes working with Eric Wallace. I think he works like working with Eric Wallace, but also I think using Wally in like short stints, like he comes back for a 3-episode arc, is the best way to use the character. And he was meant to be in an arc last season. I think they said 2 episodes. But he ended up being in one. I think that was because of his schedule. I think he ended up being had to go do something.
He was
else.
Touring. I think he was like he's doing music.
It was something like that. He was doing multiple things. I think he was doing music, but then also I think he was filming a show. I think he might have been filming that Love Victor.
And he was also he was a guest judge for RuPaul's Drag Race, which means he would have had to been there for like a couple of days as well. So there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, that's probably like an on-call sort of thing. So there was things that got in the way where I actually think
he likes the take that Eric has on the character because it feels like a better character than the Wally we had before, and I agree with that.
Yeah. The Team of Awesome with the $2. Do you think that the Force is from the comics coming? Well, I'm assuming you've seen the set photos, the Team of Awesome. That's why you're saying that. So without spoiling specifics, if you know what the Force Quest storyline from the comics is, expect that this season. We know that through set photos. How it's exactly interpreted, we'll have to wait and see. But
this is what you were trying to avoid spoiling earlier when you were
because especially when I was talking about the Zoom thing, because Zoom ties into that. So, but I don't know if it'll be done exactly like that. So I have to wait and see. But I'm very curious to see what they do there. I'll have a video on that like next weekend or maybe tomorrow morning. If I'll figure it out. So keep your eyes out for it. It might be tomorrow morning. It might be on the weekend. So I don't know, one of the two. Silhouette animator. Oh, by the way, I'll bring it up now. Q&A time. We'll finish up. We'll do about 10-13 minutes. We'll go maybe like an hour and 20. Okay. The stream goes through for a Q&A. So if you want to, obviously super chats will get the priority, but we'll jump into some normal chats in the chat if time permits. But we'll go through the what do you call them? The super chats first. Did I get this one up here? Yes, I did. Okay, so Silhouette and Animator with the $5 ruse. Do you think it would be interesting if only one earbud exists in the multiverse and he was also responsible for what happened to DCEU Barry's mother? I know the whole point of the multiverse is that multiple things exist. So I'd say I don't think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be like you're probably better off having their own thing. And they can do whatever they want. And they can do their own storyline. And this earbud experienced certain things. However, Andy Muschietti did follow both Tom Cavanagh and Grant Gustin on Instagram. So take that with whatever amount of salt you want.
The thing is,
just watching the show and enjoying it.
If Tom Cavanagh ends up being the DCEU Reverse Flash, just think he'll get a much better costume. I mean, I love his costume now. But they'll be giving him like an updated costume that will probably work in the movie and the TV show. So
yeah. So I don't know. I think like I'd love to see him show up in the movie, but I think you're better off having the own like Ezra Miller's Flash has his own Reverse Flash, wherever it might be. I think that's the best way to go. Mauricio with the $2. Hope they end Eva's story in a way she can come back. Well, I think they ended in a place where she's not necessarily a villain, but I don't know. I think she's
not even a real person, though.
I think that's the issue. She's a mirror clone, so she can't exist in this world unless they make it that she just goes back into the mirrorverse and lives there by herself. But that might be torture. Like I know she went sort of insane doing that. So I don't know. I don't think they ended in a way where she can come back, but they might end in a way where she's not a villain, if that makes sense. So I know I have to wait and see what they do specifically, but I'm not expecting necessarily a happy ending for either.
It's hard to
or
even
for
look
to
at her like a hero or a villain because she's not even like a real person. That's the thing.
she's just. I don't think she really knows what she's doing now. So yeah. DC Crisis goes for the $2. Will we ever see the original Savitar?
Wouldn't it be a paradox? Wasn't the original Savitar always a Barry clone? I mean, I feel like that's what they were hinting towards.
So
here's the thing: the showrunners couldn't even explain that, so I don't think that we'll ever really see. Because then they have trouble explaining how Savitar even existed when they were asked about it. I think they just didn't really have an explanation for it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think touching Savitar again is like just opening up the doors for potential confusion. Because that's pretty much what season 3 was. Like,
it's a paradox.
Like,
it's a paradox.
Tripped over themselves. Yeah, it's like chicken egg.
Savitar was always future Barry, and future Barry, and he always told himself to go back and do what he did. So it's a weird thing that doesn't make. Where did Savitar's armor come from? There's so many questions from that season. I don't really want to get into it.
Yeah. Why does he give up blue lightning, but normal Savitar has? Future Barry has just red lightning.
Right.
Lightning. Why does it give off a different color lightning?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Multiple things that could be questioned. Naruto with the $5. I got seasons confused. Thought he was in 2. I thought he wouldn't 2. I thought, oh yeah, I think we've got seasons confused this stream.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to quote anything from a specific season because they definitely get it wrong. So I understand the pain. Krista and Booba with the $2. We need the new Wally like we saw in season 6. Yeah. Hey, the issue is the whole Speed Force thing. So if he comes back, he won't have speed. So I wonder if Wally's sitting there going like, Jesus Christ, Barry, what'd you do?
That was the best version of Wally West we've had on the show.
Yeah, so hopefully he comes back. It won't be this season, we know. So hopefully in season 8 he comes back. Once the Speed Force is reinstated, he can connect to it. He can do his own thing. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see. I won't bring up your super chat, Mauricio, just because it's a spoiler.
Huge spoiler.
So I won't bring that up, just in case no one saw it. So some people didn't see it, and I don't want to bring it up on stream. But yes, that I agree with that super chat. And just getting some things in the comments. We'll go for another couple minutes. Hey, Pagey, Eric, do you think we can get the Crime Syndicate as the next big crossover that's coming from Space Lord? I'd love to see it. It's something that I've always wanted, just because I think it opens up the opportunity to have the opposite of what we saw like on Crisis on Earth X and various things like that, where you don't have to have Grant Gustin playing Johnny Quick or Tyler Hoechlin playing Ultraman. You can get Michael Rosenbaum to play Johnny Quick because he voiced the Flash in the Justice League thing. You can have Brandon Routh play Ultraman, whatever it might be. You can have these different characters play the Crime Syndicate. You could have someone play, Superwoman and various things like that. It opens up the door to that, and I think that'd be a really, really cool crossover to do. The only issue is that they have to tap into the multiverse again. But maybe the Crime Syndicate opens up the multiverse for them. Maybe they know the multiverse is there and they attack Earth Prime. Maybe that could be what it does. So I'd love to see it. It's something that I've been asking for pretty much after Crisis, because just thinking of a cool crossover they could do. But some people might compare it to Crisis on Earth X, even though I think it's different in many, many ways.
Would it be cool to see like they could cast an Owlman? Finally, we get like a Batman equivalent with Owlman.
Who would you play Owlman?
I don't know. He's one of my favorite characters. You've seen the animated feature, right? The one with I don't even know if I should spoil this. It's been out for a while.
Crisis on Two Earths.
Crisis on Two Earths, yeah. Where they have the Crime Syndicate in it, and Owlman ends up being a very important character in that particular animated movie.
Yeah.
I really like that character. I love the design. I love the fact that everyone else is so almost a palette swap copy of another person. Whereas I feel like Owlman is just vastly different from Bruce Wayne and Batman in a lot of ways. He's intelligent, but he doesn't apply everything the same way. And so I've always found it kind of interesting, but I would love to see a character like that. I don't want to dive too deep into this. He's like my favorite character on the Crime Syndicate. So I don't know who I'd get to play him though. Maybe if we're going with an older one, I mean, I don't know. I have to think about it. There's so many people that could do it, but I really would love to see him live action. So
yeah, I didn't know how you could do it, because I guess they had to be like unless they did like Owlwoman, because you have Batwoman.
Yeah, but I think that actually they could do
Ruby Rose.
Owlman. Yeah.
Ruby Rose and Owlman.
They could do Owlman though. I think because I don't think the DC would care unless they're planning on doing something like that for the movie.
Well, there's a Crime Syndicate comic that just came out, but that's just a comic. There's not like they're planning a live action movie with that, so there's not too many issues there.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy that played Frank Bruce, maybe, but like, would you just make it that Owlman is just the opposite of Batwoman? I guess you would. I guess that's what if you're going to use like the parallel.
Yeah,
I guess that's what you would do.
Maybe they could use Julia Pennyworth, the actress that plays her, and make it Owlwoman.
Maybe if they wanted to. How do you think they'll go about explaining the existence of Jay Garrick post-crisis? I'm very curious because they sort of, when Eric Wallace talked about it last season, it made it seem like it was going to appear last season. Now, I don't know if he was meant to be in like maybe the end of the season, but hopefully it's not like, it's hard because Henry Allen only died like a few years ago, and he can, like, as we know, like that shouldn't have existed on the same Earth, or at least been there the entire time because they're doppelgangers. So I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm so hoping that
wasn't it that Oliver Queen basically picked and chose what he wanted to do?
Yeah, so but like, why would he randomly pick and choose Jay Garrick to be there if he was creating the rest of the multiverse as well that we saw?
I don't have an answer for that one.
So maybe Stargirl explains it, but it's meant to be flashbacks. Like it's meant to be like in the past, like 15, 20 years in the past. So I don't know if they're going to explain it like for the Flash. So yeah. Would you like to be in a cameo on the Flash, Pagey, if the CW offered it to you? Depends what the role was. As I've always said, what's the male version of a mistress? Toy boy? Boy toy?
I'm not sure.
I would be Iris's boy toy. Okay, so that would be my cameo, and it would be a drama-related love triangle. Thoughts? Would you like that cameo?
I'll leave the chat to answer that one. That's all.
I think a lot of people would support of it. Or Apartment 4 Resident. Space Fluff does get that. Apartment 4 Resident it'd be pretty fitting, to be completely honest.
On my cameo, I would love to be an outrageous version. Like,
no, you know what you could be?
You
could be what Bebo was inspired by.
What was that?
Or you could be Bebo's creator.
Okay. I was thinking they could have me as like an enemy of Team Citizen, and I'm literally a YouTuber that makes like clickbait videos about how awful all of their superheroes are.
Also, Ben.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
Let's move on before we get taken down. We do have Paging can be Iris's half brother. No, because we're with love. No, we can't make it. We can't make it weird.
That would be weird. Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah. Half brother and then a foster brother. I don't think it'd be the most clean of love triangles there. But Geek Information comes with the $5. Once again, another member of the channel. Thank you very much for that. I am late, but hello, my friends. Eric Wallace said he has spoken with Keenan. Sorry. So yeah, maybe next season. Yeah, I think it would have been this season if there wasn't COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it might have been a 3-episode arc. So yeah, I assume next season is where we're going with that.
I would rather do it when they have time to bring him in for more than one episode. So,
and also when the Speed Force is actually properly functioning and he can actually run around. Yeah. Because he was doing some interesting things with the Speed Force. So I wouldn't mind that coming back. Chemical YT with the what's the guy's name? Ike? What's the guy's name from Monsters Inc?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't know what his name is. He's Sully's
It's been
friend.
ages since I've watched that.
Mike. It's just, why did I say Ike? It's Mike. It's Sully and Mike. PP poo poo go Pog POG Poggers.
Is it Pog out of style? Wasn't that like back in the 90s when people played Pog? I
don't know. I think PROG stands for People's Republic of Gamers. So I'm not sure. People of Gamers. Mike Wazowski. Yeah, I don't know why I said Ike, because anyway, that's just me. Maybe it is too early. Maybe my brain is fading. I'm not too sure. But thank you very much for that, Chemical YT, or Chemical YouTube, I guess. Thank you very much for that. So I'm just going through the chat. Pagey as a journalist on The Flash could work. Here we go. Thoughts on this? I am just the clickbait YouTuber. Maybe I'm a villain for the season and I'm making clickbait videos that are bringing down the Flash's reputation. I am photoshopping, after effecting, editing videos to make it, like sort of like Eddie Brock in Spider-Man 3. I'm the video editing version of that. So making it look like the Flash is killing people and there's all these mysterious deaths and I'm editing them, uploading them to 4chan or something, making it look like the Flash is doing it. I'm thinking that's a good storyline. Eric, if you're watching Eric Wallace, feel free to either contact me. Could be great. It could be great. It potentially could be. Did I miss? I did. I am very, very sorry, Marty, with the €5 coming in. Hey, as we are not having a big crossover, do you think Supergirl will be in the next, even though the show will be over? It's a long shot. Because the show's over, it's hard. And she would ask for a lot. Like Melissa Boyanis wouldn't be cheap.
She's moving from being just part of the acting crew to being in production with Warner Brothers. So her paycheck is going to go through the roof for her to do anything. So unless she's feeling very generous, I don't think we'll see that, honestly.
The Snyder Cut got leaked apparently from Zareska. I'm surprised it hadn't already. I saw people posting, I think that was screenshots from the screen. So
the whole thing got leaked?
It was eventually going to get leaked. Apparently, like all the trailers were getting leaked. So I was like, it wouldn't surprise me too much if it got leaked as well, especially because it's like a PVOD thing. It's going to all these streaming services everywhere.
I wonder if it was already like on the servers for HBO Max, like ready to go, and someone got in and got it from that way.
I don't know. It could just be someone that got a screener.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or a screener. Yeah, screener is another way that could have happened. So HBO Max actually put it up in place of Tom and Jerry for one. Oh my god!
I think that might be a joke, and I think that's real. Naruto next Gorilla Grodd crossover. I don't know because they sort of left Gorilla Grodd in like a good place.
Would you want to just go back to
legitimately? It legitimately was Tom and Jerry. Well, we're watching the Snyder Cut tonight, guys. Oh Jesus! There we go, Eric. There you go. You've enjoyed it. You've got your Snyder Cut early.
It says here.
If you did not say, we do have the Snyder Cut predictions.
Yeah. So
Eric.
It says here, Snyder Cut got leaked on HBO Max when people tried to watch Tom and Jerry. The Snyder Cut would play.
So we got Eric with a 3 out of. Do you think it will be 3 out of 10 when you watch your leaked?
It might even be a 2 out of 10.
Okay. Well, I'm predicting that if you weren't here earlier, we got the 10 out of 10 for me because I'm playing it safe. I'm playing it safe. So. I don't know. I remember when they leaked that Arrow episode where Constantine was in it and the VFX wasn't done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's very interesting. What's the time? We'll go for another 3 minutes. We'll take it to 1 hour and 25. How did things get leaked? Well, just like little things like that. Like it was obviously on that. What's that picture? He's enjoying that cup of coffee. Is that a cup of coffee or a soup? I think he's going hard on it. I'll tell you what, whatever that picture is, he is enjoying whatever he's drinking. I don't know if it's coffee. I think it's like soup.
But here's the thing, though. If Snyder Cut is 4 hours long and it was leaked for an hour, then people didn't get to see the whole thing.
I think
right?
if people are currently watching it, they'll continue watching it. I think. But anyway, even if it's the first hour that it gets leaked, that'd annoy people. But anyway,
just release it early. Who cares at this point?
I remember last year, all those CW episodes were getting leaked like a couple of days early.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like 3 weeks in a row, Flash got leaked. And it's because I can't remember what it was. Oh well, this is an interesting one. What side effects do you think Iris will have after leaving the Mirrorverse? I'm hoping she doesn't have powers. I'm hoping it is side effects.
She's gonna have powers. She's gonna be the mirror mistress.
I'm hoping it's just like sort of like she's a bit fractured, or maybe she remembers. Maybe she can see through. She has like weird flashbacks or something like that. Like she has like traumatic stuff. I don't know if you want to sit on that too much. I'm not sure if you'd want to sit on that too much, but that could be a side effect I could see.
I'm wondering if she'll be able to use the powers like while she's in there, and then when she gets out, she can't do it anymore. That's what I'm gonna.
Yeah. People are saying the Snyder Cut will have Blu-ray, like a Blu-ray. I think it is. I think it's getting like 4K.
That doesn't surprise me.
They'll try and cache the thing. They'll try and cash out as much as it is. Like I've talked to someone that saw it yesterday, yesterday. They watched it yesterday, and they only told me one thing, and it wasn't even actually in the movie, and I won't say what it is, but it'll be interesting to see how people react to the film in regards to like as a whole, like quality wise. But Cameron Setka, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, with the $2.99 $3. Great videos. Thank you much for that, Cameron. Greatly appreciated. I enjoy the fact that you enjoy the videos, if that makes sense. Thank you very much for that. But guys, we'll end the stream coming up. That doesn't make sense. I'm going to end the stream now. The link to Eric's channel is in the description down below. If you want to go click it, check it out. We do a stream there every single week on a Wednesday evening or a Thursday if you're in Australia or somewhere else, but usually a Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, depending where you are. It's called the After Party. So join us over there on Wednesdays. But yeah, you can go to his channel, subscribe, and you'll see that. Link is in the description down below. Thank you to everyone that super chatted and just supported the channel. Greatly appreciate everyone that became a member. I'm going to try and do this every week on a Monday evening, Monday night, or a Tuesday morning for me. Sometimes I have a guest, sometimes I won't. Depends on what we're talking about. But thank you everyone much. Thank you everyone that joined this week. Let's look forward to the Flash and Superman Lois tomorrow. And yeah, we'll catch you later. Bon voyage, adios, guten Tag.